YouTube, what is good? We are back in the building for another episode of Marvin's Room. But also, too, guys, I want to let you guys know today, I also started another YouTube channel, and this interview is actually going to go up on that YouTube channel as well as my current YouTube channel. And my other YouTube channel is Marvin's Room Closet Talk. Yes, Closet Talk. We're going to be talking about all things manifestation, podcast style. I'm going to be interviewing different guests, different subscribers, viewers on whatever the topic may be, as far as anything is manifesting goes, and relationships, this whole law of attraction, law of assumption stuff. So I'm excited to share that with you guys, my new channel. But also I am excited to have my very first guest on Closet Talks, a person that I've known for 15 years roughly, a man that I've seen, in the music business do his thing, singer, songwriter, amazing person, amazing manifester, all of the above. My man, Jay Lavita. Jay, what is good?
Man, I like that intro. That was a good one. Crazy how far we go back, man. That shit is wild.
Who you telling, man? It's literally, Jay and I met each other when we were in high school. And he's always had a talent, passion for music, and just to see his growth, his maturation from that time period up until now, second to none. Guys, listen, I'm gonna put his links in the description below. Check his music out. His songwriting skills, his music skills are like second to none. So I'm excited to put all of that in the description. You guys check him out if you want to get in touch with him, work with him, whatever the case may be. But Jay is here today to discuss law of attraction. We're going to talk to you guys about a few things: law of attraction and relationships versus like real world relationships versus how like the real world thinks and things like that. I want to kind of compare and contrast the two, men and women, that sort of thing. But before we jump into that, Jay, let everybody know how you sort of got into manifesting versus like your traditional background and where you came from, how you learned about manifesting, and how you manifested a couple different things in your life. Because I know one of the last times we spoke, you manifested a motorcycle relatively quickly within like a week or so. Just, studying different things and hearing about Abraham. So if you can, just share with the viewers, your quick background story.
Well, I was always religious. God was always in my life and in my family. I grew up with it. I was raised Jehovah's Witness, and I was having Bible study since I was fifth grade by myself, like dolo, like what I wanted to do. So um, being in the music industry, being kind of a conspiracy theorist, and being religious, you get to see like almost every spectrum of life in a sense. So as I got older, there was certain things within a religion that it just ain't really make sense to me, or I just felt like it was hindering my growth as a person. Not saying that being close to God is hindering me. That's not what I'm saying. Just the ideologies of certain things.
Right.
Y'all, because I'm like, how I'm gonna move this way and be a better man if I can't do certain things. So I got to a point where I stepped away. I stepped away from the Jehovah's Witness, and I was conflicted because I felt like I still was disconnecting myself from God in a sense. So my thing was like, I was praying every day, like, if I'm doing the right thing, God, please let me know, like, I'm doing the right thing, or I need to go back. Feel me?
Right.
So, and like being a conspiracy theorist, I researched stuff and found out things that ain't really led me the right way. So I really didn't want to go back. So
right.
One day I was watching a Big Sean interview, and he was mentioning stuff like a lot of things I could relate to, and then he was just like, I always said I wanted this house, and then I wound up getting famous, and I got that exact house. And he was like, I'm telling y'all, just read this book, and it was Asking It Is Given. So I read the book, and so much stuff in the book coincided with my thinking when I said when I wanted to grow. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that's how you grow. You know what I mean? And
Mm,
like, just because you're not attached to a religion, don't mean you can't have that connection with that higher power. You feel me?
right.
So once I understood that, I feel like my relationship with God blossomed even more because the guilt wasn't over my shoulders so much. You feel me? Like I feel like people carry so much guilt within religion that they can't even focus on what's important in a religion. Feel me?
100.
So that being said, you know, it helped me there, and it also helped me understanding how you stay like on the right path and how you can get thrown off of your path.
Mm,
Feel me? So I'm like, you know, I had a bike. I had two bikes, and I sold them, and I wanted to get a particular bike. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna save. I'm gonna get this bike. So when I learned about manifesting, I was like, you know what? Let me try. Let me see how this works.
that's what they tell you to do that too, to test it. That's one of the guys, Neville Goddard, who's really big in the community. He always says, listen, test it for yourself.
Yeah, and that's what I had to do because I'm like, yo, this makes so much sense to me. Like it really does because like everything that I said I ever wanted to get, like when people ask me like, yo, what's something you feel like you want? And I'm like, yo, honestly, I don't know. I've gotten everything that I've ever asked for.
Right,
I'm
exactly.
manifesting from rip, not even realizing it. You feel me? So I'm like, you know what? All right, I'm gonna manifest. I'm gonna think it. I want this bike. So I'm driving home from work one day, and my boy like, yo, it's a nice ass day. He was like, let's go for a ride. And I'm like, bro, you know I don't got my bike no more. And he was like, yo, hit so and so up. I asked if you can use his bike for the day. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I hit boy, I'm like, yo, it's nice. It's a nice day. Can I use your bike? I was like, can I rent it? I was like, I'll pay you some bread. And he was like, yeah, for sure. I'm like, bet. So then he hit me like an hour later. He's like, yo, you know I'm selling it, right? And I'm like, word? I'm like, how much you selling it for? He was like, well, it's still got payments owed on it. So he was like, you just take over the payments.
Mm,
So I'm like, what? So meanwhile, I'm saving for a bike. And I turned around and got a bike technically free, but not free, if it makes sense. You feel me? Because I'm paying
yeah,
on the bike, but I ain't have to put no money down, no credit check, no nothing. You know what I mean? Bike was just handed over to me. You know what I mean?
right, right.
And it wasn't no dud, it wasn't no limit. Like I still got that same bike. So like I literally went from saving for the bike to having the bike within a day. Like straight like that.
Damn, it was within a day?
In a day, bro. With people,
God, that's quick.
yeah. It's like so no, I picked it up the next day. But I mean, that's how fast it worked. You feel me? So I'm like, whoa, like this whole time I've been saving and the answer was right there. You feel me?
Right.
And I think another thing that prepped me for manifesting too, and what gave me that whole manifestation mindset was when uh, my record deal went sour. It put me in a bad spot.
Mm,
Put me in a real bad spot, and I was like, you know, they can get so low, and some people when they get angry, their mind get clouded. You feel me?
right.
For me, I got so low to the point where I'm like, yo, I can't get no lower than this.
Right.
And when I kind of sat in that anger and in all those emotions, the answers for what the things I needed to do just started popping out.
Mm,
And it was like sometimes you gotta learn to not those emotions you can be feeling can be the answers. You feel me? But if you're not processing what's coming at you the right way, you're not gonna get what you need from it. You feel me?
that's deep.
And when I started to sit in it, I'm like, yo, nah, hold up. I'm tripping right now, but all I gotta do is hit this bull up and write a record for him. And all I gotta do is hit this bull up and write a record for him. I'm good. I'm good. And once I realized that, I'm like, it ain't no such thing as not being able to handle your business. Like, there's always an answer. There's always a way to get out of whatever you in. Feel me? So after I understood that mindset, like I could have a job and get fired tomorrow and I would not stress because I know
Right.
I could turn around and fix that. You feel me?
Because you are God.
Yeah,
You are the
exactly.
God of your reality, which is in Jehovah's Witness or Christian religion, they kind of taught and they kind of deviated away from that whole principle, even though, you know, in the Bible it clearly says you can do these things that I can do. You know what I'm saying? So basically that means I am a God too. And it says that I am a God. You are God.
Yeah, and I feel like society in so many ways have disconnected us from that. Feel me? Disconnected us from being our higher selves.
Right.
Crazy, because honestly, when you tap into your higher self, some of the things that you start to understand, people will label you as crazy,
Yeah.
which is crazy in itself. Because it's like, no, this is normal. This is normal. This is what you guys took away from us. So, you know, for instance, like they say you hear a thought in your brain, right? Okay, so you got it should be at least one voice in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if somebody's saying you got you talking to you, something in your brain, you crazy. It's like, no, nigga, that's my inner being. That's you're supposed to have that. That's how you make decisions. When
Right. Exactly.
that voice go off in your head and say something ain't right, it ain't right. You feel me? You gotta
Right.
because if not, you're gonna listen to what everybody else telling you.
Exactly.
You feel me? But I mean, it's just I can go on for days about it. There's so many things that they do to disconnect us.
Nah, I listen, I agree, man. You just said some powerful stuff. And I'm glad that you ran into that, you know, that Big Sean interview because something that I think you could definitely bring awareness to, especially in the hip hop community, the black community, you know, the minority community, you know what I mean, the R&B community, being in the music industry and already having so much impact to a lot of people. It's like you can, because I think this is something that the hip hop community is missing, you know, or, you know, minority communities are missing. It's because we still don't really know. We're just now like braising the surface, you know what I'm saying? And so you can definitely be an advocate to so many people because other than Big Sean and other than, and it's funny that you say that because he's obviously with Janae Aiko, who is huge and into manifesting and like doing the whole crystal bowl thing. And like she speaks about it. I've heard Kalani, you know, sing about it, you know what I mean? But like other people like rappers and stuff like that, like they still are so oblivious to how we really are, you know, conscious creators and manifesting and whatever it is that we want to do. So I'm very happy that you were able to come across Big Sean and see that interview and it opened up your eyes to that Asking It Is Given book by Abraham Hicks, because that was one of the very first books I read as well. It was an eye opener and it was a life changer, understanding like, wait a second, you mean I don't have to put in 15 hours a day to get what I want? You mean I don't have to kill myself, put in 100-hour work weeks in
Right.
order to manifest a car? Or you mean to tell me I don't have to save, just like you said, I don't have to save for a bike? Like I don't have to do none of that. Like I can literally just think a thought, let it go, and then boom, the universe just brings it to me. Like, you mean this is how life's really supposed to be lived? Like I don't have to live like Henry Ford was living. You know what I'm saying? Like that old model of waking up at 5 or 6 or 7 and then getting home at 3 and 4 and that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? So like I feel like you are definitely going to open a lot of people's eyes with your wisdom that you have, you know what I mean, in the music business to make it easier for yourself and to help other people like kind of spread awareness around this whole thing.
That's like bound. Like now that I understand that, like that's my main thing, man. Like I try so hard to just like keep people in a positive space, you know. But I also gotta learn to protect my energy too, because I give it to so many people because I'm just that kind of guy. You feel me? Like I like helping people. So, but
Right.
I'm learning that not everybody is deserving. You feel me? But when they looking for it, I'm here though. You feel me?
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. That's the most important part, I think, is staying on a high vibration and understanding like, okay, I gotta be in alignment. Am I in alignment to help this person? Because when you're not in alignment, you really can't help nobody. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You can't help yourself. You know what I mean? So the first step is always to make sure you stay in alignment. And then once you stay in alignment, you can spread out and say, okay, now I'm in a position to help you. Because if you are out of alignment, what advice are you giving to someone while you're out of alignment? You know, that's how most people are. They try to give advice, worldly advice, mundane advice. Meanwhile, they themselves not even in alignment, and then they wonder why things go south. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Facts.
So yeah, I mean, listen, I'm super excited, man. Like, this is crazy. That bike story is still kind of blowing my mind. Um,
I still look at it today like, man, I can't believe I got this jump. Like,
and it happens so easily and effortlessly, like literally.
yeah, yep.
It's insane. But so let's get to the real crux of what we want to talk about today and
Sir.
what is so big on YouTube at this moment is this SP shit. This manifesting a specific person, relationships, how to get an ex back. Like this is a huge moneymaker on YouTube right now. So I kind of want to hear your thoughts about this whole movement, this whole wave, law of attraction, relationships versus relationships outside of law of attraction, you know, men, women, manifesting the right relationships versus manifesting the wrong relationships. You know what I'm saying? Being in the vortex doing this shit while being outside of the vortex doing this. I mean, what are your thoughts on this, Jay?
I think they all go together, for real, because I can sit here right now and think of a girl I want to manifest, but I can lack specificity. How do you say that word? Specificity.
I think that's how you say it. Specifications, certain specifications about.
Yeah, I can lack certain specifications on what I want, right? And
Right.
I can still manifest the wrong female because she can have these things, but she can be horrible in all these spots. So I feel like you gotta be super specific when you manifesting
Right.
a female. You feel me? Because like I could say I want her to be loyal. I want her to be, God fearing female. I want her to be classy. You feel me? And I could get all that, but if she could be insecure, super, you know what I mean, super jealous, or she could be everything else. So if you're not specific, it still can be just as bad as finding a chick out here in the world. You feel me? So like I feel like it can go hand in hand, and that's not your fault. You're just not specific. That's a lot of reasons why certain people can't even manifest because they're not specific in what they're trying to manifest. They just get like a general statement and then throw it up there, and you know what I mean? You gotta
Very
be,
true.
you feel me? So and then when it comes to just being out here, just picking randomly from the litter, that's a shot in the dark. Like especially today, man, because like I don't know what's going on, man. Relationships are weird. Everything's just weird. I listen to some of these podcasts and I'm just like everybody just so about money and so disconnected from what love really is, and it's just like, bruh, it's like it's so sickening to even have conversations with some females now just because of their thought process. So I don't know if I answered that correctly, but to me, I feel like everything is whether you manifest it or whether you just out here worldly choosing, you can get the same result. You really can get the same result because, like I said, you can not be specific and still get that. But I do feel like I feel like manifesting exes and stuff kind of goes against the law of attraction because like that ain't work.
Ooh, controversial take. The people are not gonna like that, Jay. It's real, but they're not gonna like that. Go ahead, elaborate.
No. It's about being in alignment, right? And if that didn't work due to something that threw off your alignment, why would you want that to return to you?
Mm,
Because like it, I can manifest one of my exes back, right? But
right.
I'm all of that personality, all of her thinking, and all the things that threw me off and put me in a bad space.
Mm,
Why, why would I want that? Why not
mm.
manifest something new? You feel me? And let that be what it is. Now, I don't know what you think. Do you think that you can manifest your ex back and she be changed? Does that fall under the being specific category?
Yeah, me personally, I do believe that you can manifest someone back into your life, and you can manifest someone back into your life being changed. But again, you have to be specific. And this is where this was the mistake that I made and I've talked about on my channel, is because when I manifested my SP back a couple years ago, but when I manifested her back, it was, she had gotten better, but then there were certain things about her that didn't get better or were the same. And I blame me because, like I said earlier, I mentioned Neville. Neville is one of the pioneers of everything that we're talking about today. He was before Abraham. You know, I think he was before the Seth books, which Abraham is just like Seth, as far as channeling spirits. But Neville was one of the big components in saying, you know, listen, you can manifest a specific person. You can change, not you can in a sense influence people. Let me say influence, because I still believe in free will. I think free will does exist. And in this work of manifesting a specific person, that scares a lot of people, is because they don't want to believe that free will exists. Because if free will exists, then I can be rejected from my ex. I can be rejected from my specific person I'm trying to manifest. And I don't want that. So people, this is a very controversial topic, but I personally believe that you can have influence on another human being. And it all starts with everyone is you pushed out. Everyone is you pushed out, meaning however you think people are going to treat you, however you see the world, that's how the world is going to mirror back exactly to you. That's how the world is going to show up to you in the form of physical experience. You know, so like I said, in my situation, I was able to manifest her back, but I was so worried about, you know, trying again, and this was my big test. Like when Neville says test it, that was my big test, was I wanted to see if I could do it. I did it, but where I failed the part of the test is I didn't focus on like seeing her being healed, you know, and that, and to me, that was the big piece. And to me, that answers your question, is you can manifest a person back being changed, but you have to mentally, as you know, studying this stuff now, mentally, you have to see them being renewed. You have to see them being healed. You have to stop telling the old story. You have to stop saying things like, oh, my SP is so stubborn. My ex is so stubborn. My ex, why does my ex always, you know, short with me on the phone? Why does my ex never call? Why does my ex never invite? Like, these are the things people are constantly telling themselves about their ex or whoever their specific person is. And so that's why that person keeps showing up in your experience that way. It's because you keep speaking that into existence. But if you change those words of, from why is my SP not texting me? Why is my SP so stubborn, to wow, isn't it wonderful my SP is no longer stubborn? Isn't it wonderful my ex loves to go places now that they never used to love to go before? Isn't it wonderful my ex has changed? Isn't it? And so that's how you, getting people to change is an inside job. That's what I've learned. This is how Jesus was able to do it. This is how other healers were able to do that, is because they realized I can't change you by talking your head off, which is what most people do in the mundane world. I can't change you that way. You know, I can't change you by going to therapy and talking it out in therapy. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of times therapy doesn't work, is because people are just talking their head off. But when you, the internal dialogues you have with yourself, like you said, that inner knowing, that spirit, when you start to have that conversation about your specific person or your ex, seeing them healed, saying those affirmations of them being healed, feeling it real, visualizing it real, that's how you change a person, and they can come back into your life and be a better version of themselves and better for you, if you want to go that route. Because you can go that route, but you can also go to another route and get a new person. So those are my thoughts.
Okay, that makes sense though. That makes sense. So it just goes back to being specific again. Yeah, yeah. You got to be clear, and that's true too. You can't have that doubt, because once you have that doubt, or you have that negative thinking, it just nullifies the whole manifestation in itself. Like, you just voided out that whole manifestation with the negative thinking. You're not getting what you want from the experience when it comes back to you. Like you say, you get what you focus on. So,
Right, exactly. I think you hit it on the head when you said being specific. Like I think that's a big piece of the pie is like you said, a lot of people, they just say something and then they'll just like leave it up to the universe to like bring them whatever you want. But I've heard of people having very successful results with, you know, just scripting. Like people will literally write out on a piece of paper their ideal partner, you
Right.
know, like every detail. And then next thing you know, the universe brings it to them exactly how they scripted it out. But they might have forgotten one detail, or they might have said, all right, I'm going to leave this detail up to, you know, the universe to see how the universe brings it to me. But I agree, like the more specific you are in what you want, like you're going to get, you get basically what you ask for. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not specific, then you're going to have to take, you know, A minus or B plus
Right.
or B minus, you know what I mean? Or maybe even C. But when you're specific about something, it's almost like inevitable. Like you really can't lose because the universe knows what you want. That heart brain coherence knows what your desire is. It knows what you want, and it knows the best way and the fastest way and the easiest way to bring it to you without you getting in the way of trying to work hard and kill yourself and that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So I mean that's just a great point on being specific. I couldn't agree more.
Right. What else you got for me?
Say that again.
What else you got for me?
So I want to hear your thoughts on, you know, relationships as far as like men and women, you know, are concerned, and you know, dealing with toxicity in relationship from a man and a woman standpoint versus like a law of attraction standpoint, because a lot of people don't understand, you know, why they keep attracting toxic relationships. And I mean, you can go back to the post that I remember I posted on Instagram, that post that you seen in the comment section, and people, I got a lot of reaction from that, you know, and I guess it revolves around this whole um, nice guy syndrome, like, oh, nice guys finish last. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I want people to understand, yo, nice guys don't finish last. We finish first every time. We may finish last in the beginning, but in the end, like we always win because I feel like there's a certain point that um, you know, a woman may get to, or even a man, because this can go both ways. But usually I feel like with these situations, it's like women, like the nice guy shows up. And again, I like to teach and do things. I like to combine law of attraction with real world experiences because I understand that most people, they're practicing law of attraction, but they're still living in the real world. They're still thinking with mundane thoughts, carnal thoughts. So I try to mix it to help people understand while they're on their journey. And I just feel like with this type of stuff, like it's always like ingrained in music, movies that, you know, men are the disloyal ones and women are the loyal ones. You know what I'm saying? And so there's this dichotomy that I want to get your opinion on about that because, like I said, I see and notice like it seems like the media and things like that show you, you know, oh, women always go for the bad guy. You know, women always do this, women always do that, men always do this, men always do that. You know, they're not healed. You know, they need to heal or whatever the situation may be. So I want to get your thoughts on and elaborate pretty much on like all of that type of shit.
There's so many, there's so many different avenues with this. So let's start with uh, where you want to start with this relationship in general first. That's I want to get into every single one of these.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So start with relationships in general.
So I feel like now what makes a good relationship is what you're asking, right? Like what?
Well, not necessarily what makes a good relationship. I mean, you can talk about that, but I mean, just like sort of like from a law of attraction viewpoint and from a world viewpoint,
Okay,
like the differences of what makes, I guess, a good relationship, but also the differences between, you know, men and women and being healed versus not being healed and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, you can break it down however you want it.
well, I do feel like a lot of people ruin relationships because they don't take the time to address themselves. Uh, you know, a lot of people feel like the person that they become one with has to make them better when they don't understand that they
Ooh,
got to be better before they even can pick somebody. You feel
that's
me?
a great point.
And a lot of people do it. You know what I mean? Like they lean on that person. And I've been in relationships where uh, I'll meet somebody who has like a very addictive personality, right? Like they whether they vape or they smoke, and they just need it, and you also become a part of their addictions. Feel me?
Ooh,
Like they need you just as much as they need everything else, to where you can't even move, like you can't even breathe. And it's like, no, you need to fix why you can't have space and love for yourself. You know what I mean? Because you should want your time as well. You should love yourself enough to where you want your time, not just my time. You feel me?
right.
I feel like it's just a lot of people in this world, especially today, that just don't aren't in tune with themselves, and can't dig into themselves and say this is what's wrong with me. Feel me?
Mm,
Like for instance, and when you learn to love yourself and you understand certain things about yourself, you can look at somebody and be like, okay, I hear what you're saying. Who hurt you like that? Or you and your dad not in your life, is he? Or your mom, you and your mom had a horrible relationship, didn't you? You feel me? Because like this one girl I used to talk to, she was just jumping in the relationships, like back and back and back and back. And I'm like, yo, why? And then when they dog her, she don't know how to let them go. So I'm like, you got abandonment issues. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like I know your dad. You talk about your dad a lot. I said, how's your relationship with you and your mom? And she was like, she basically left me alone when she basically dubbed me when I was a kid. Like I never really had a relationship with her. And the first thing I said, I was like, yo, before you get in any other relationship, you need to fix that. I said, you need to fix that. This is why you are the way you are. And she was like, I don't see the reason. But I'm like, I said, no. She was like, it's not an issue to me. I said, so it's not an issue to you. Why don't you like to be around her? Why don't you go to the crib when she's at your grandma's house? You know what I mean? And I'm like, because you have resentment. There's something there that's creating that resistance. And for you to you need that closure. Brothers, you ain't gotta be buddy buddy, but you need to speak your piece for you to get over whatever is keeping you in this space to where you feel like you need to clean the people so much. You feel me?
mm.
And I just feel like, and that's on both sides, men too, because we don't got father figures, so we come into relationships not even knowing how to treat women, not even knowing what a family looks like. You feel me?
Exactly.
So how do we know how to give love if nobody ever gave it? You know what I mean? So I feel like when it comes to relationships like outside of the spectrum of manifestation, that's a lot of what you get on top of everything else, like social media and all these expectations, and it's just a disaster, bro. It's like it's a lot of stuff you got to peel back to find out who you're really dealing with, and that's that. Like for real. And then when it comes to manifestation, I feel like when you do it right, I mean, honestly, you can't really go wrong. I feel like, especially if y'all both on the same playing field when it comes to your thinking, I feel like that's like a power couple. You know what I mean? And you understand that we are both on our own journeys together. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I'm still me, you still you, and we still have to go through things separate. But when we come together, we become, you know, one, but we're still individuals. And I think people forget that. They you get with somebody and it's like, oh, you think like that? No, you need to think like this. Or we can't work if you're doing this. And it's like, why? Why are you trying to make this person exactly like you? You know what I mean? Like that's not love. That's not anything. Like first of all, that's boring. Like I don't understand why anybody would want that. Now I understand if it's things that's conflicting, like if somebody's an alcoholic or certain things you can't stand for. But if it's something that is as simple as somebody's way of going through life, you can't interfere with that.
Right.
Throwing them all off of their track to get what they need to get.
Right.
I mean, we weren't put here just to be in relationships. bigger than that. You feel me? Like just how they said it, action is given. We were put here to create. We were put here to create with our thoughts, with our the tools that we were given. You feel me? So the relationship part is just kind of like an addition. Because once we die, all of this don't mean nothing.
Right.
So I mean, I just feel like the manifestation side. I feel like if I ever, when I manifest that woman of my dreams, it's gonna be lit. Like it's gonna be so because we both have that understanding. So everything on the outside ain't as appealing how it would be to somebody that's living a worldly life. You feel me? It's a lot of that's super appealing to them. So, all right, so that's that. Because this is so much to dig into with this, man.
Yeah, I think you made a great point.
And then when it comes to the bad guy, good guy stuff and all of that, a lot of that stuff is ethnicity based too. Because like,
oh yeah, let's go there.
Because in the white community, the nice guy kind of wins. Let's be real.
Yeah, let's go there. Talk that shit. Let's go there.
Nice guy is who they want because they're not thinking about what's hot on TV. They don't watch Love and Hip Hop where women are treated a certain way. They watch things that are talks about love and loving people and being real. You feel me? So like, you don't really get that in the white community. You know, you might get it here and there, but they want the nice guy with his head on straight because they trying to really do a family thing out here and really fall in love. Meanwhile, in our communities, they chasing the bag. They want the guy that look like the next rapper. So they not really worrying about the long term. That's just like when a girl be like, they're like a drug dealer or something.
Yeah.
And be surprised why he treat them a certain way. Or they talk to not saying that celebrities can't be faithful, but you talking to somebody who you see got mad women around them all the time. So why you expect them to treat you any different? Like the thought, it's the thought process in our community that's so skewed. It's like there was a TikTok challenge going around, right? It was a TikTok thing where a woman would record herself and she would be pissing her man off. But the whole time she pissing him off and he's snapping, she's like getting turned on. Like, oh, I love just making him pissed off. It's so sexy when he get aggressive. And I'm like,
serious?
Yeah, so I'm like, so you think it's attractive to drive us crazy? Like, you playing with people's emotions. Like, that's not okay. You feel me? Or just like you'll hear a girl say, like, they'll put a comment or a tweet like, I'm a lot to handle. I'm a bitch when I'm in a relationship. Y'all better deal with it. And it's like, first of all, that's not attractive to be bragging about. That's no man wants to deal with that, and you wonder why you can't get one. It's like the stuff that people try to normalize is so backwards. It's like, what are y'all doing? Like,
right.
like you want to just like the back to the nice guy thing. A female, and this shows how throw it off that we are and how society made us, because a woman will be like, I want a guy that's going to choke me and throw me against the wall. And it's like, so you want an abusive man because society told you that that's attractive. And then when he actually do abuse you, because you normalized him putting his hands on you, you thrown off. But this is what you asked for, because when you condition somebody to do stuff like that, it's going to become normal. If I was with a chick and she always like being choked and slapped, if she pissed me off, I'm probably just going to do it because I'm programmed now. Like,
right.
If I smack you in the bed, I'm gonna smack you when we argue. Like,
right.
That's just real.
That's real shit.
It's real because you're conditioning me. You like, you feel me? They don't get it. They don't get it. And it's like a lot of these women put themselves in these situations because their thought process is so stupid. And that's just the reality. That's just the real way of putting it. They say things and it's like, no, that's not okay. Like, I listen to these podcasts and women really be talking about how much they charge to sleep with a dude, or like how much they would charge, or how they got sugar daddies and sides, or they're the side and they pound
Yeah,
the side, and I'm like, what? Like, but you really talking about it like you okay with it too,
right.
you know? And it also falls on men because we normalize that stuff.
Absolutely.
The point where a girl could be like 10 racks for this, and I'm like, who paying 10 racks for some? For me, even today, I still work a 9 to 5, bro. There's no reason for me to be in a strip club. There's no reason for me to spend money on any kind of vagina because I obviously still, if I'm working, I'm not where I need to be yet. So I damn sure don't need to be throwing money at on the ground.
Mm.
And people priorities are just so jacked. You feel me? And it's both sides, bro. We it's both sides of the spectrum. We do things that make these women this way, and women think things that make us a certain way. You feel me? Like with the whole nice guy thing. And
I
then
I agree.
it's just ridiculous, bro. Like, it, I
I guess my whole thing is I guess what really, and again, I'm combining. I always combine. Let me preface my comments by saying I'm combining real world situations with law of attraction situations. We're talking about relationships inside of the law of attraction versus relationships outside of law of attraction. And it doesn't matter whether you're in the law of attraction, out of law of attraction. Like I just feel like I noticed this, and this is why I asked that question. Like I feel like so many women, like they always say they want a nice guy,
yeah,
and then when that nice guy shows up, it's like they fumble it, like they're playing football, like they don't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? And it's like the narrative. I feel like there's a collective consciousness around, you know. And I remember one lady in the comment section of one of my posts I made on Facebook. She tried to tell me, she was like, "Oh, you know, YouTube." She was like, "YouTube is a small part of, you know, the collective consciousness, and you know the YouTube community isn't a big part of the population." And
did
she
she
tried to say that again.
not see some of the views that these videos get? How can she?
Yo, listen, when she told me that YouTube is literally the second largest search engine in the world behind Google, that's the first thing. Okay, number two, I was thinking this. I didn't say this to her, but I was thinking it in my brain. I was like, okay, so if YouTube is a small part of the population, I was like, in order, and when people are trying to figure out numbers to anything, they always take the data that they have and then they multiply that data times however many people are in the world potentially, and that's how they get that number and solve for X. You know what I'm saying? So when she said that to me, I'm like, yo, listen, I can easily, because I made a statement like I forget what statement I made, but basically I was saying in the comment, I was like, I've been coaching since June of 2020. All of my clients have been women. Not saying that there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But all of my clients have been women since I started in June, except for one person. And the one guy that I had was a gay guy. The one male client that I had was a gay guy. And I said to her, I said, that says something to me.
Right.
I said, that's data. That's collective consciousness. She's like, no, that's not collective consciousness. That's just the small people that you've dealt with. And I'm like, okay, so if I've been working,
That's still a number.
exactly, it's a number. And if I'm working with people for 7 months, I mean, at the time from June up until now, all this time, and I can take that number and I can multiply that by whatever number, and I can say, okay, this percentage wise is what's most likely to happen, and I can get those numbers, and that's what she wasn't getting. So back to what I was saying about, you know, this whole nice guy thing, I feel like that there's a collective consciousness that I've noticed in working with people worldwide now in different countries. Like, you say one thing, you say you want something, and then when that thing shows up, and this is relationships, that thing shows up, you lose it because mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you weren't ready for it. You thought you were ready for it. Just like I said, nice guys. We've all heard it. Like, I don't care if you believe in law of attraction, if you whatever, like, we all know what I'm talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, nice guys finish last, like blah, blah, blah. Women, you see all the memes on social media. Find you a man that looks at you the way a kid looks at cake. Find you a man that's going to rub your feet. Find you a man that's gonna put you first. Find you a man. Find you a man.
What do they say when you get into it though?
Say that again.
What's the one thing they always say when they get a good guy too? They always say you're too good to be true.
Exactly. Speaking
They,
it into existence.
yeah, but it's based off of their insecurities because they can't even appreciate what they got. Why does it
Right.
have to be true? Why can't y'all always saying men are dogs, men ain't this, men ain't that, and then you get one that ain't, and you don't even want to believe it, and you ruin it yourself because you got all this doubt and you manifesting the wrong thoughts of the relationship. Crazy.
Yo, man, listen, I couldn't have said that no better. Like, and this is what it boils down to. And again, like, because I feel like so many people in the law of attraction community, I feel like they are trying to avoid real world shit. And it's like, I understand that you're supposed to retrain your subconscious mind and stuff like that to think a certain way. But also, you got to really look at and deal with what's going on in the world. Just like the shit that happened with the Capitol building, last week. Like, people in the law of attraction community would say something like, oh no, just ignore it. You know what I'm saying? They would say things like that, or they would say, oh, it's not real in your reality. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that's true. It may not be real in my reality, but I still see it happening. I'm gonna acknowledge it. I'm not gonna, and that's why I wanted to hop on here and talk with you and get your perspective, someone's perspective who I highly respect about relationships and things like that, especially world views relationships versus, law of attraction views relationships. Because I mean, as much as people want to say relationships are this way, relationships are that way, or they want to, so many people try to put themselves in this box of manifesting the perfect person, a specific person. But a lot of people are still doing it from a worldly viewpoint. And that's why I wanted to combine the two and talk to you about it, is because you are a perfect example. I'm a perfect example. I've been there, done that. You've been there, done that. And it's like so many people are trying to manifest something, but you're still trying to manifest it kind of with your old thinking patterns, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Rushing. People be rushing, man. Take your time. Get to know yourself better. And then try to manifest that. But people might hear they don't even understand the inner workings of manifestation before they even try to go manifest something like that. And that's why they do it. You got to understand that you got to be in a certain place with yourself. You can't be in that place if you're still out here engaging in all this mess out here. You're gonna make that mistake every time. You know what I mean?
I think you touched on a great point. Going back to what you said earlier about cultural, like, again, when a person gets into this manifesting stuff, you know, there really is no such thing as culture. There really is no such thing as, this and that, because everything, when you really fully understand, everything basically turns into one. Like, everything is one, everything's connected. But so many people are outside of that vortex, as Abraham Hicks says. So they're saying and thinking things differently. And I think when you talk about relationships outside of the vortex versus relationships being inside of the vortex for manifesting purposes, I think you made a great point in looking at culture, because you were so right. Like, when I look at the minority culture, particularly, black and brown people, Spanish people, things like that, like, there's just different cultures all around the world, but there is this narrative of, like you said, we're chasing the bag. You know what I'm saying? We trying to get lit. You know what I'm saying? Our fathers aren't around. You know what I'm saying? Mothers raising us, versus a white household, people in the white community where both of their parents are most likely in their lives. You know what I'm saying? But then you look at, people like in the Indian culture, because I've talked to a lot of Indian people over these past X amount of months since I started coaching. And I didn't realize that the Indian culture, they're supposed to be married by like 25. Like, if you're in the Indian culture and you're not married by 25, 26, like, that's a problem. And they start looking at themselves like, oh, I'm the issue. Like, what's wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not good enough because I'm not married. But, oh, I'm almost 30 and I'm not married yet, or I'm in my 30s and I'm not, you know what I mean? So I think culturally, you made a great point when you talk about collective consciousness and manifesting, relationships and manifesting certain toxicity, behavior or patterns. And I think culturally that has a big piece to do with it, depending on how you grew up, what culture you in, because I feel like people in the Black community, you know, in the Hispanic community, I feel like these are problems that, you know, we face more so heavily, kind of like racism and things like that. We face more so heavily than someone in the white community would face. Not saying they don't face it, but we face it more so than they do.
And to even get deeper on that, you know, in the Black communities and you know the minority communities, everything around us is almost made to keep us docile and keep us at a low vibration. You know what I mean? Like you got a McDonald's on every corner. You know the water ain't that good. It got fluoride, and there's not really much around us to help us be better inside and out. You know what I mean? Everything around us, even the housing, the communities, everything keeps us at a low vibration. You know,
Right.
that's why like in the inner cities, everybody's so negative. That's why there's so much violence, because there's nothing of inspiration there. You know, there's nothing that keeps us moving towards being a better, more supreme being. You know, and and as Black people, you know, just the way we are, you know, we need that. Like we need that. That's just how we survive. We thrive on certain kind of things in that aspect. So once we become better, we're like we're unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like let's just be real. But it's just it's so many inner workings of it, bro. And that's why this conversation is like it's hard to have in a time frame because there's so much that needs to be uncovered.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
you know, because a lot of this stuff is on purpose. You know,
Yeah, I agree. And the crazy part about it is it being on purpose. Again, once you get into the law of attraction, you start to understand your thoughts, emotions, words, etc., create your reality. You know what I'm saying? So you stop thinking the way that we're talking right now. If something is being on purpose, being done on purpose, you kind of in a sense exclude yourself from it because you realize you are a co-creator with the universe. But that doesn't take away the fact that people did intentionally try to keep a certain demographic of people down. And this is what I keep trying to stress and tell people is like, just because you're at this elevated state, you may not be experiencing these things, but other people are experiencing these things. You may not experience poverty, but other people are experiencing poverty. You may not be the one that is in the slums or in the hood or whatever the case may be, but there are other people. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's important, and which again, why I wanted to hop on here with you, touch base on all of these things, because there's a way of thinking inside the vortex. There's a way of thinking outside the vortex. And you can go back and forth and intertwine and say what you want, but these are all serious issues. Again, you made another great point about, you know, people are being held down on purpose. You know what I'm saying? It might not be my reality, because in my reality, nothing can hold me down. I am a co-creator. I am a God. You know what I'm saying? Those things don't apply to me. Those things don't apply to you, because I know how you think. I know how I think now. So my skin color doesn't matter. Like I'm going to excel. I'm going to prevail regardless of how dark my skin is. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of level I'm on. But there's other people that are not on that level. They think being Black still holds them back. They think being a woman still holds them back. And guess what? Because you believe that, most importantly, because you feel it real, that's gonna be your reality. You're gonna be held back from that promotion. You're gonna be held back because of your skin color, because that's what your belief is. And as you know, Jeff, reading, um, asking is given. Whatever you believe, you receive. Whatever you vibrate at, that's what you're gonna attract. It's 2 + 2 is 4.
that's fact. It's crazy, man. It's really crazy. It when you understand it, it hurts you. It hurts you on a different level because you're seeing it from the top, you know, and you looking down on everything that's going on, and it's just like, man, like the stuff that y'all doing to yourselves, and like, man, the things that you guys think and believe, and it's just like, this is like, yo, we gotta get stronger out here, everybody. Like, we are a weak ass species, and that's facts, bro. Like, it's facts, and it's
We
like,
are.
but it make you think. it make you think because it's like when you start to find different things out, it's like, yo, they really don't want us to be better. Like they tell you that, and I'm not encouraging this, but they tell you that stuff like LSD, marijuana, and mushrooms are bad for you.
Right.
These are things that are natural. These things,
these are gateways.
gateways. This is how you expand your mind.
Yeah.
You don't go crazy, but if you do it right, they're very beneficial. But the thing that we are taught is to abuse, because that we abuse everything. We abuse everything. You feel me? So obviously we're not using it the right way, But they don't even classify certain things as being okay. And it's like, well, why you ain't unlocking these things to us? Like, why you not telling us these things? Why you not telling us that, simple meditation and microdosing of certain natural drugs can help you. You go to a therapist, they give you an antidepressant. That's fucked up.
It is.
That is not fixing anything. You're not getting to the root. You're not getting to the fact that this person was abused for years.
Right.
You're just saying, here, take this. It's going to remap your brain, and it's going to keep you at a low vibration. That's not fixing anything, bro. Like, and that's the crazy stuff. And that's why there's so many damaged people out here. But it's so many aspects, bro. It's crazy.
It is. Like, you just said that shit. And I was like, I was just getting ready to be like, yo, after you said that, and then that shit just made me want to keep going. Like, or to because like you just made another great, good ass point. Like, and this is controversial with me, and I guess we can end it here. But, and I'll get your opinion. But mental health, to me, is a part of one of the biggest scams in the world that's ever been created. Just like, how people say college is the biggest scam. You know what I'm saying? Working a 9 to 5, you know what I'm saying, could potentially be one of the biggest scams. You know what I'm saying? And the health industry is one of the biggest, especially in this country, because there's foods in this country that are banned, chemicals in this country that are banned in other countries. You know what I'm saying? And so with that said, mental health is another one. Like, I feel like mental health is not what we think it is. It's been hijacked by health professionals. It's been hijacked by the guy that went to Yale, that graduated and became a doctor, and then gave money back to Yale in order to pump money back into what he wants them to do. You know what I'm saying? This vicious circle. And mental health, me personally, I don't really think with a lot of people, I don't really think that there's something mentally wrong with them.
I agree.
I think that they, like you said, they've gone through shit and they've never figured out how to heal. If a person has been abused when they were younger, physically abused, sexually abused, whatever the case may be, and they're taught by society just deal with it, or they don't know how to deal with it, what do you think is going to happen? Eventually, that's going to manifest in the form of anxiety. It's going to manifest in the form of mood swings. It's going to manifest in the form of being bipolar. It's going to manifest in the form of having, some sort of PTSD or what is that? Borderline personality disorder. Like,
you
go ahead.
Mentioned about 5 different diagnoses.
Right.
They're all the same thing. They're all the same thing. It's just not being able to express why you're feeling this way. You know what I mean? Like, they put so many titles on things that should be embraced, bro. Like, even a child, right? This little nigga won't sit down. He got ADHD. No, he's a kid. Let him be expressive. Let him create. Let him manifest. That's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing.
And I hear people say this all the time. Like, people who sing today, they be like, "Oh, I'm shy," because when I used to sing when I was a kid, my mom used to tell me to shut up. You just blocked that whole experience for them. You know what I mean? I would never tell my kid something that's stupid or get that out of my face, or, you know what I mean? Because they're where we all need to be. We need to
go back to that.
Be in tune with our inner child.
Absolutely.
And it's like, they put us in these situations that make us this way. Being stuck in traffic for hours, going to work for hours, That is going against who we are as beings, bro. It's going to stress you out because that's not what we're supposed to be doing. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to be over here killing people in other countries. You feel me? Like the things that people do to you as a kid, it's not supposed to be happening to you. So of course you're going to have some kind of mental break. You feel me? And they're throwing titles on it when they need to be real and say what's really going on. You know,
Right.
it's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Sheesh, man.
It's sickening. It's sickening, bro.
Yo, listen, sickening ain't the word, dog. It's like, damn, man. Like, yo, I swear I can keep going on with this shit, man. Like, we definitely gotta come back for
That,
another part 2, part 3, going to depth
you gotta
with
get
what.
that elephant and the pharmaceuticals in the body, you know, that next.
Yeah, yo, listen, especially with manifestation, because people don't understand how that stuff blocks, man. Yo, that may be, I think our pharmaceutical conversation may be our next joint, because that type of stuff is heavily influenced upon the brain. Like you said, fluoride earlier, all of that type of stuff. That's what we're going to talk about next, man. And I'm sure we'll probably branch off and talk about some other shit too. But I think that's next, because that's definitely a huge piece of manifesting, like eating the right foods, all of that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Helps dramatically with your mood and being in tune with your higher self, getting visions and all that type of stuff. Pineal gland, like we definitely going to get into all of that, man. But listen, this has been the first episode of Closet Talks, Marv's Room, man. Listen, I feel like R. Kelly right now. We in the closet. Yeah, I got Jay in the closet. Jay Lavita went to the closet. He opened the closet. Oh my God, a rubber. Yo, listen, we really in the closet right now. Closet Talks with my man Jay Lavita, singer, songwriter, been in the business, working with the biggest writing, singing. Yo, man, check his stuff out. I'm going to leave his details, whatever details he wants me to leave in the description below. I'm going to leave him in there so you guys can check out his music, check out his site, check out everything. You know what I mean? I can't thank you enough, Jay, for being on here with me today. Can't thank you enough for being a friend over these past 15 years. It's been a journey for the both of us, health-wise, career-wise. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just grateful you could be here today, man, for my very first episode of Closet Talks in Marv's Room. So I appreciate you, man. Say whatever you want to say to the viewers.
I just want to say thank you for having me on. You know, you don't get, you don't get to have these many conversations with people like that. So when you do come across the chance, you got so much to say. You feel me? But I definitely want to come back on. I definitely fuck with what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all about it. You know, and I hope that shit, your listeners like what you're doing. And I pray that this channel blow up, because more people need to know what's really going on out here, and they need to know how to better themselves. So I mean, yeah, check the music out, man. I hope y'all appreciate it. If y'all need, a song written or something like that, hit me up.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna leave the links in the comment section below, man. And I think this will be big. This is a great talk, man. I'm on such a high right now after this conversation. I can't wait till part 2. So guys, this has been Marv, Jay Lavita. Check his music out. Check his songs, check his writing, check everything out, his Instagram, everything, because he's one of the best. I'm going to see you guys next time. Thank you, Jay, as always. See you guys next time on another episode of Marvin's Room Closet Talks. Holla.